Good afternoon everyone, welcome to, they tell me, the home of football here, Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Firstly, thanks very much to Dave McCarthy and the team here. We promise you one day we will have a major fight just outside those doors and windows out the back there. I understand there's a bit of a sweepstake going on today in terms of how quickly we'll mention someone's name. So I'm not sure who's got what times, but Amir Khan, I'll do it for you now, so whoever had it earlier. But we're here most importantly to talk about the third defence of Kell Brook's IBF welterweight world title fight at the Motor Point Arena on the 26th of March. And it's a pleasure to have him back. Disappointing end to last year. Of course, the fight booked in 24th of October against Diego Chavez. I remember I was actually on a plane landing in New York when I got there. As a promoter, anyone here, I know Steffi Ball just seen, when you get that text message from a fighter's father to say, please call me urgent, it's never a good sign. And when Terry sent me that message, I knew we had a problem, and Kell out with a rib injury. Was a dampener to the end of what would have been a great year. So we're here now. Everybody who knows the world governing bodies, and particularly the IBF, know they're very stringent on their mandatory defences. And we were ordered to fight Kevin Bizier from Canada as our next fight. I know how hard Kell Brook worked for this belt. We certainly weren't about to vacate any belt. So Kevin Bizier is the man, coming off a very impressive win against Frederick Lawson, the undefeated fighter, which many didn't think he'd win. And the bad news for Kevin Bizier is Kell Brook is hungrier than ever. He's in a position now where he's trained virtually solidly from November. He's in great shape now with around 8 weeks to go. And I know he wants to put in a fantastic statement against Kevin Bizier on March the 26th. There has been lots of talk about the future, and you know, it's very frustrating for myself and for Kell and for the British public and British fight fans that obviously the fight that everybody wants to see, which I think is so easy to make, just appears that it's further away than ever. Of course, the fight with Amir Khan is a fight that's been swelling and had the public interest for years and years, and I don't feel like we can do a lot more than we've done already in trying to make this fight. Kell Brook is the world champion. Kell Brook is the Ring Magazine #1, in my opinion, the best welterweight in world boxing. Amir Khan is a fantastic fighter. He's achieved so much. He's a big name. And you know, already we've come to the table time and time again, and to give him the better part of the deal. Very reluctantly to Kell Brook, I might add as well. But we've been told we're miles away, apparently, from their perceived value in this fight. So we have to say that we're miles away from having interest in making that fight. If that's the case, if he doesn't want to be in a fight that the entire British public want, a fight that can go down in British boxing history, then there's not a lot you can do. You can't force a man to fight, but as I've said in interviews before, I think the fact remains, Amir Khan does not want to lose to Kell Brook. And it's a great fight. So like I said, two great fighters, but you can't force another man to fight. So Kevin Bizier is the plan on March the 26th, and from there we have one choice, but that's to unify the division. And you look at the fighters, Danny Garcia, with a great win at the weekend, that's a fight that's open to Kell Brook. That's a fight that we've already made progress with. Of course, the winner of Pacquiao against Bradley is another target for us. And a great matchup between Sean Porter, who Kell Brook has already defeated in his homeland, against Keith Thurman for the WBA belt. So big focus on those, but again, as I've told Kell Brook, March the 26th, everybody talking about the future, but he has to face a very hungry Canadian in Kevin Bizier on March the 26th. So Kell, firstly, frustrations at the end of next year, and now well stuck into your camp for this fight.
Yeah, I'm well stuck in. Obviously, getting injured for the Diego Chavez, the last sparring session before the fight, absolutely gutted, you know, but this is boxing. Like you said, I've been training since November, training all through Christmas. New Year's Day, I think we did an 80-kilometre bike ride, so we started the year off well. We're very on target. In fact, well ahead of schedule. I can't wait to get back in. I can't wait to get back in and defend his world title in Sheffield against Kevin Bizier, my mandatory. It's about enjoying myself on that night, and I'm looking forward to a massive fight this summer. If we can't get the kid from Bolton, then I'd like to do a unification, with Danny Garcia. The guy who knocked the kid out from Bolton. If not, Porter, Thurman, winner, or like you just said, we can do Pacquiao with Bradley, or we might even get Mayweather to come back out. You never know. But I know one thing. I'm going to be in a massive fight this summer.
Obviously, people talking about Bizier, you're a big favourite going into that fight, but a different kind of style. Someone who's very, very aggressive. Like I said, big win against Lawson. As I told you a couple of weeks ago, don't take your eye off the ball on this one.
Styles make fights. This Canadian kid, Bizier, he's coming to challenge for the world title. This is his chance. Like, I know the feeling when I went over to America. He's going to be bringing absolutely everything he's got, to win this title. That's why it's World Championship Boxing, at its best. I'm just going to enjoy myself. I'm very competitive in the gym, so my foot's firmly on the ground. All guns blazing. I'm not going to do anything wrong in training camp, and I'm going to get everything done.
Obviously, the man you refer to as the kid from Bolton. I've tried to be as accommodating I can in negotiations, but I know you don't really want to move anywhere yourself as well. You feel like you have to be respected in that fight. You feel that it's a fight that you bring a huge amount to the table with as well, not just the world title belt as well. But frustrating that there seems to be no real interest, despite his comments that apparently we don't want the fight. And frustrating that that's a fight that seems common sense should make rather than anything.
Absolutely, I think he's got no respect for me. He's never had no respect for me. That's what makes me want to punch him in the face even harder. For him to go out there and I don't want to get into politics, but 80-20 split to win. I'm the champion. I'm the champion of the world, never been beat. And him dictating to us, it just makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. I want this. Obviously, because it's been going on for many, many years, but everybody wants to see that fight. Not even in Britain. People, you see interviews with Garcia and Thurman and all these other fighters that, we should get it on. Two Brits, fighting. When Groves and Froch got made, we're a bit jealous about them packing that Wembley arena out, and it's what I want to do. I want to be in them massive fights, and there's nothing what will give me the buzz more than putting that kid from Bolton on his arse.
What do you think it is that stops this fight from happening? Is it the fear of losing to Kell Brook? Is it an unrealistic perception of his value?
I think it is. I think it'd kill him, losing to me. I think when he was chasing Mayweather and Pacquiao, people half knew that he'd get beat, or he could come back here and live with it. But I don't think he could live with it. Harry slagged me off for so many years, and losing to me, I think that is a big part in this.
Dom, obviously frustrating after a great camp for Chavez. Any fights that go through 8 or 9 weeks dieting and put themselves through the mill, to lose a fight in the last minute is always disheartening. But shown a great determination in the camp so far, and been training for a very long time.
Yeah, when you've been around boxing as long as I have, it's difficult for fighters, to remain focused for that period of time. And in all honesty, actually, been training since August. By the time he gets into the ring in March, I've actually done a 9-month camp. Yeah, there's been up and down weeks, but when there's no light at the end of the tunnel and they're talking about all these big fights, it's hard to get motivated for Kell Brook. But the thing is, he's rolling the gym day in, day out. He might have the weekends off, but obviously the Chavez fight fell through. You're getting people slagging you off. At the end of the day, if you look through Kell Brook's career, he's never ever, turned anybody down for a fight. He's always rolled up. He came back from a near-death experience last year. He won the world title in America. People forget that. When they wrote him off, he's there to fight anybody who's put in front of him. He's 30 years old this year. Time's ticking away, and if these big fights aren't going to get made, we're just not going to see the best of Kell Brook. There's some big fights. There's Bradley. There's Garcia, you know, Manny Pacquiao, there's rumours that he's going to pack up after this. It'd be a great fight. Kell would fight all them. We went to see Mayweather in 2014 when Kell boxed in America, and Kell had fought him. Unfortunately, he's packed up. And you get all these people slagging him off. You can only fight who's in front of you. And, you know, the Bizier of this world and the Joe Dans, yeah, they're tough kids. You know, they're going 12 rounds with good kids. But things with Kell Brook's a special fighter, and he's demolishing these kids in 4 or 5 rounds, and that's what you've got to do. If Kell Brook's getting took 12 rounds by Joe Dan and Kevin Bizier, then there's going to be questions asked. But he's doing what he should be doing with these kids. He should be knocking them out in 3 or 4 rounds, just like Garcia did with Amir Khan. I mean, I read on social media the other day that they're talking about Khan having a legacy. How can he have a legacy? He's been knocked out twice. The only people who have a legacy in boxing are the people like Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather. And he's talking himself up to unbelievable proportions. You know, he said it's going to be an easy fight against Kell Brook. He schooled him as a kid. You know, if it's going to be an easy fight, why is he putting up so many barriers and stops and, you know, roadblocks? Getting and fighting is going to be an easy fight. You're getting more money. You're getting a kid who you think you can beat because you've had the better of him in sparring, so you say. So get in and do it. But it's a bit like the kid when you're younger who stood behind the garden fence calling your names and poking a stick through at you, and as soon as you approach him, they back up from running out. That's what Khan's doing. So it's either put up or shut up. You know, everybody knows now he's being exposed. It's out there. He's pricing himself out of the equation, and he's going to get no respect from anybody in Britain. And the Garcia fight, why is he going to fight a guy who's knocked him out already? Why is that going to be interest in America? And you correct me if I'm wrong, Eddie. He'll probably get paid 3 times as much for fighting Kell as he will for fighting Garcia again. Am I right?
Well, that's the frustrating thing more than anything is, I'd say the proposed payday for Khan will be around $4 or $5 million for Garcia, or probably over $10 million to fight Kell Brook. Got 2 fights for a world title. You've got 1 fight against a Brit, which would make history for the sport in your own country, a fight that your entire country want to see, and you call for a fight where you could earn less than half.
And you've already been knocked out by the guy before.
Yeah, but listen, as I say, I think it stems from an unrealistic perception of value, and also a fear of losing to Kell Brook. So we move on. Adam Smith. I know you're fond of both fighters, so you know, but you equally are desperate to see this fight. Your network is desperate to see this fight. It's a fight where, frustratingly, you tell me why.
I do. I asked why, and I was in America last week for the Deontay Wilder fight, and I spoke to the head of Showtime, and he's in no doubt what he wants to see. He wants to see Brook Khan in a ring at Wembley this summer. I know everyone out there wants to see that fight, and I disagree slightly with the rest of the guys up here, because I think Amir does want the fight. Money it will come down to, and I think that the ball is very much in his court. I don't think there's any more that the guys up here can do. Kell's got a fight on March the 26th. He's got a mandatory defence of his IBF crown, which is what's important. He's a world champion. We've got 12 world champions in Britain. Amir Khan's not a world champion at the moment. And those guys have got mandatory defences. They've got to take care of business, and they've got to defend their titles. I think it's going to be another great night in Sheffield. It always is with Kell, all of the lights and everything, and we love following him. But we want to see him in big fights. And this summer, I think he has to have a big fight. But yeah, there are many options. Danny Garcia, obviously the winner of Pacquiao Bradley. If Pacquiao carries on, that'd be fantastic. There's Juan Manuel Marquez, who's still knocking around. There's Mayweather if he does come back. You know, there's plenty out there. Thurman and Porter. I think Thurman will win that fight. And Thurman against Kell, I think it's a terrific fight for this summer or maybe next year. But of course, the fight we want to see is with Amir Khan. I've spoken to Amir. He was working with us on the Klitschko Fury fight tonight. He wants the fight. At least he tells me he wants the fight. So I'm an optimist. I believe it will happen. Whether it's June the 4th or another date, I think Kell Brook and Amir Khan will share a ring. And Carl Frocci was with me in America a week or so ago, said he doesn't mind if his 80,000 record's broken. It's fine if 81,000 turn up for that. So I think it will happen. I think it will be on the magnitude of a Froch Groves. I think, you know, if it's a great first fight, you have another one. There's a ton of money to be made. And I think they're 2 fighters who deserve to give that to the British public. So fingers crossed. But if there's something I can do in my impartial position, then I will, because that fight should be made for the good of the British public. In the meantime, I wish Amir well, and I wish Kell well. And on March the 26th, it's going to be a terrific night here in Sheffield, once again.
Obviously a stunning 2015, kicking off the 2016 schedule this week with George Groves returning to Copper Box.
Yeah.
Kell Brook defending on March the 26th.
Yeah.
Stephen Smith challenging for the world title. Quick Frampton coming up on February the 27th. Or in Birmingham on March the 5th. April, Joshua returning on April the 9th. Callum Smith on April the 2nd. Josh Warrington on April the 16th. Great time for British boxing on Sky Sports.
It is great times, as I said, with 12 British world champions. You know, it's the best time, I think. You know, we ended the year with that wonderful night in London with Anthony Joshua and Dylan White. You know, what a great fight, what a great night, top to bottom. It really was. There was upsets. You know, Luke Campbell's got to come back from that. Kevin Mitchell as well, and that's what fight fans want to see. You know, they want to see sometimes the upsets happening, the guys on the right beating the guys on the left, and I think that's what we're getting at the moment. We're getting better matches. We've got real star quality in Britain, and the Quick Frampton fight is absolutely superb. I mean, that's another one right up there with Brook Khan, with Froch Groves. You know, it's a 50-50 fight. No one knows who's going to win that fight. Carl Frampton thinks he knows, and Scott Quick thinks he knows, but you know, ultimately no one does. That's packed out. You know, the arenas, Eddie, are being sold out within minutes. You know, and that's a sign that people want to be part of it. And the amount of people that have said to me they want to be part of a Joshua night, a Joshua experience in London. Well, I tell you what, I don't mind a Kell Brook night in Sheffield as well. I think they're special ones as well. You've got the music, you've got the fans enjoying themselves, and you're getting knockouts. That's what people want to see, and I think it's a terrific lineup again, 2016, and it'll be really interesting to see by the end of the year who's standing tall, and I think a lot of them still will be.
Thank you, Adam.